I'm being joined now by a senior lawyer in Nigeria, senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Muiz Banre. He joins us from Ikeja area of Lagos. Thank you so much, senior advocate, for joining us tonight. Perhaps let me get your view on some of the latest news that is in town, which of course I'm trying to get Mr. Additional to speak to. And that is the latest unemployment figures that was released by the MBS. For you, you heard the debate and the conversation about it. What comes out to you on this matter?
Well, let me start by first and foremost appreciating the Bureau of Statistics for being honest so far. The body has struggled all over the years in the recent time to ensure the integrity of the data that they shown out to us. And if we go by that data, certainly it is worrisome. It is very, very worrisome and disturbing, and something needs to be done as a matter of urgency. Of course, certainly it's not unconnected with the various crimes that we are witnessing in the country today. Because the situation where we have over 80 million people below poverty level, you have almost 44% of our youth being unemployed. Of course, the saying is that devil finds work for an idle hand. So you do not expect anything less from what we are witnessing all over the whole place today. So it is a very, very disturbing statistics.
If you would prescribe a solution or a way out of this quagmire, what would that be, Mr. Banre?
Well, the first thing that needs to be done is that there seems to be policy conflict and policy somersault on the part of the government. For example, there is a major need to act in this concerted manner. Presently, what you find out is that most agencies of government and most parastatals and ministries, they all work in silos. In one breath, you have the Ministry of Humanitarian dealing with the issue of social investment schemes all over the place, trying to create employment and empower the people. And on the other, we have so many other agencies ensuring that people become jobless. And I'll give you an example. Let me use the simplest narrative of the agricultural sector, which is meant to at least absorb most of these jobless people. You find out that most of the policies you find, they take the issue of poultry. We had the problem during the COVID where a lot of the grains that ought to ordinarily go into the production of poultry feed had to be diverted into the sustenance of the people during that period. We have a situation where a lot of farmers cannot even go to the farm to harvest the maize that is required, which is the major component. Then you now suddenly wake up as a central bank saying you are banning the importation of that maize without making alternate arrangements. Today I can tell you more than 70% of the small and medium-scale poultry are all gone. Today they vanish into unemployment market. You find also a situation where the consumption itself equally frustrates a lot of investment. A lot of companies close down daily as a result of the various policies. Recently, I stumbled on one of the countries engaging over 18,000 people directly, not to talk of the supply chain of that company being forced out of market gradually through the undue policy of the custom. Meanwhile, the Federal Ministry of Commerce, Federal Ministry of Finance is singing one tune, the custom is singing another tune. At the end of the day, what is likely to happen, which is the usual trend now, is that the funding will be forced to close down, and this is the daily occurrence. So there is a need to have a reconciliation of our policies. They must start acting in a concerted manner. But the way we are going now, I believe that we are not heading in the right direction. People will continue to be thrown out of the market regularly, and that is the major challenge that we have. So I believe that the major thing that needs to be done fundamentally in the first instance is to get all the federal government agencies coordinated in terms of policy direction. In fact, right now, I do not personally know whether there is even any economic team on ground dealing with the economy. All we hear is from the central bank. Central bank is not supposed to. We have a Ministry of Finance, we have economic planning department. We do not hear anything from all those who are. It's the central bank. How many central bank governors all over the world do you see doing what our own central bank governor is? All the policies come from central bank, and for me as a person, I can tell you without fear of contradiction, and I can validate it for you. There is always what central bank does most of the time that I've seen, even with the economy, is experimentation. Today you have a policy, in 2 weeks' time is reversed. Today we have another one is reversed. That's what we've been going through, and no serious infector will come into an unstable environment Today, discuss with your banker and say, please, what is the position in terms of this my investment? I want to do that. What you hear from your banker is simply that, look, I'm not sure, this is it today, tomorrow morning we don't know what the central bank will do. No economy grows in that kind of situation. So, and if the economy does not grow, certainly the unemployment will continue to soar and inflation will continue to go up.
That's on one hand the issue of economy, and the issue of security. That is another worrying situation in the country. You heard what the governor of Ondo State said as regarding the way out. He's asking the National Assembly to take the lead, and he's also saying that President Buhari should have the political will to reform the system so as to fix the insecurity problem in this country. Do you agree with the governor of Ondo State on that?
Well, I agree to a certain extent, but not entirely. Substantially, there are more the other issues that are much more germane than that. And I give you an example of what is really happening. Certainly, the trigger of all this insecurity, as far as I'm concerned, is the issue of economy. Poverty. There are too many people being thrown into the poverty circle every day. Every day. They have to survive. When they look at it, they take the risk. And that is what we are witnessing. Except the economy improves, forget it. No amount of force we can use to stem the tide of insecurity in the country. That's the reality. I'll give you another example. Take the issue of climate change challenge. Years back, more than 10 years now, over a decade now, I've said this severally. When I was Commissioner for Environment, I used to say it equally, that look, they will get to a level that we start having conflict all over the place as a result of climate change challenge. For example, today, we continue to have higher and higher desertification in the north. What do we expect? People, all the people, will have to start moving towards the south for greener pasture. That will continue. And insofar as that continues, there will continue to be conflict because some people will have to be displaced. In the same manner, in a few years' time, people will start struggling over water. There will be conflict over water. These are some of the things that are not even addressed at all because somebody somewhere is not paying attention to it. So beyond the National Assembly and all those ones, except the economic improves, we are wasting our time. I did not even share that optimism. The only optimism I can share is for us to put all our hand on deck towards ensuring that we take more people out of the poverty level. That is the only way to stem the tide of insecurity.
Before I bring another perspective or opinion, view rather, into the conversation, let me get your view. I mean, you're a leader in the Southwest and you live in the Southwest. You do business in the Southwest. We've seen and heard of some agitations in the Southwest where some people have declared what they call a Yoruba nation. And there are reports that the agitation and the actions are backed by some leaders in the Southwest and monarchs also in the Southwest. Does this worry you in view of the kind of insecurity that we're seeing on one hand and this kind of agitation on the other hand?
Well, again, I agree with you. It is something of concern. It must worry every patriotic Nigerian. But unfortunately, the reality is that we cannot stop it. It will continue so far as there is unfairness in the system. There is injustice in the system. It will continue. That's the reality. So for me, what we need to do is to ensure that there is a sort of restructuring that will ensure equity in the nation. Without equity in the nation, all this agitation from the south to our southeast, southwest, everything will continue that way. But we must not be too sure. We must not be too comfortable that, hey, nothing will happen. At the end of the day, it's not. The same manner, that was the attitude of Soviet Union in those days, before eventually it became balkanized. That was the attitude that nothing will happen. They were just grandstanding. And the way things are going now, look at the European Union even itself, look at Britain pulling out of it, look at the situation of Greece and so on and so forth. So the reality is that as we are today, I believe, like the governor of Ondo State rightly said, this thing must be a national emergency, this restructuring. The people must be brought to the table to ventilate their various grievances. We must be able to aggregate opinion towards ensuring that at the end of the day there is a sort of balancing in the system. But today, too many issues are cropping up daily. Too many. Let me remind, maybe you forgot it, 2017, you had what happened in Kaduna when the youth there said, look, all the Igbo people must leave and go back to their various zones. Remember recently too, Father Reverend Papa Kuka was asked in Chokoto to leave the north too. Now we have our own Sunday Igbo here. This thing will continue along that line. And the reality of the matter, which people seem not to even know, is that the call for secession, I've not seen anything that criminalizes it. Once it does not touches on the issue of overthrow of government, all the Nigerian Constitution says Nigeria shall remain indivisible, indissoluble, a single entity. That's all. Check all the criminal laws. There is nowhere where you will find out that if, for example, I say I want to secede now, I've committed a particular crime. I'm not aware of that. But we all know that eventually this will lead to a situation bordered on treason. So to stem that, to prevent that, therefore, it is inevitable. In fact, it is pertinent that at this stage, we must start sitting together and dialoguing over all these issues that people are interrogating and agitating all over the country.
All right. Just a moment, Senior Advocate. Let me bring in another perspective and a view of a former minority leader at the House of Representatives and a chieftain of the APC, Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu. He joins us from Dutse in Jigawa State. It's a pleasure having you on the program, Honorable. Let me get your reaction to some of the fears of some Nigerians, especially a former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who fears that the handling of the economy under this government, they might not be listening to patriots like him. What are your views on that? Handling of the economy under this government, they might not be listening to patriots like him. What are your views on that?
Good evening, thank you. I'm joining you from Birnin Kudu, not even Dutse, my hometown. So. Now, you see, I mean, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is a Nigerian, one of the leaders in this country, you know, and of course, this government is not bound to take advice from him. As a leader, as someone who has led this country, at least in the kind of position he had, there are certain things should not come out from him. Just if you remember what Femi was saying, it was during their time that $16 billion went into the drain for the electricity in this country. And Dimeji Bankole was the speaker at that time. Investigations were made, but nothing happened. Now, this time around, we came in and met the rot, and we're trying to fix it. And this is not something you will do it in 1 day, or in 1 year, or in 2 years, in 3 years. And sincerity of purpose is the whole essence in this government. Are we sincere? Yes, we are. Are we transparent? Yes, we are. Are we doing things, you know, to ensure we don't go back to what was happening in this country? Yes, we are. But look, if you are in opposition, we were down the line in opposition, so we know what it means. We know what it means in opposition, which means if you're in opposition, sometimes you blabber. This time around, my elder brother, senior citizen of this country, I think he's blabbing. And we're not bound to take his advice, because his advice are tainted, you know, with malice, also probably anger that he didn't get opportunity to win the primaries and eventually win the election.
So does that, I mean, invalidate the worries, or let me even ask you a personal question. Are you worried about that figure that has put us in the limelight, negatively of course, as having perhaps some of the highest number of people who are unemployed and out of jobs in the world? And also, if you look at it vis-a-vis the situation of security in the country, if we make a list of the promises of the government of APC when they came into power and what we have on the ground in terms of statistics, they are staggering and they are worrisome. Honorable, how do you handle, or what do you tell your followers or Nigerians at large who are holding on to some of these promises?
Well, I totally agree with you that the situation in the country is worrisome. Yes, the security situation is worrisome. Yes, the unemployment rate is worrisome. But are we doing something to curtail these things? Yes, we are. What are we doing? One, in terms of security, We have, I mean, Nigerians have called for the removal of the service chiefs. They've gone. New ones have come. So we want Nigerians to give them a chance. And just last week, the armed forces called for a meeting of kinetic approach to security in this country, in trying to galvanize the support of the people. And we are doing it. And you will see in the next few weeks how in terms of employment, unemployment, yes, it's true. I mean, the figures from NBS is true. We agree with them. But I also want you to understand the kind of injection into agriculture, into infrastructure that this government is doing to ensure people are taking out poverty. And look, this is a global issue. Everybody seem to have forgotten the problem of COVID. It is a reality. The whole world shut down for probably 6 months. We are just trying to get out of it. This country went into recession, came out, back again, and so on. And as I said, we still come back to sincerity of purpose. This is a government that runs the country in a transparent manner. Whatever we're doing is for everybody to see. And so, you see, I keep saying that as people that are coming out from opposition, we know what it takes. We know that people in opposition can sometimes, in fact, most times, come out to say things that might not exactly be correct. And look, let me also consider, look, before we came in, there are certain assumptions that we didn't know. We never knew the situation was this bad. We didn't know. We didn't know that you live in a country where people, government officials will sit around the table and discuss sharing of money, of corruption. We never knew it was this bad. Now and then, corruption, as this government is trying to fight it, corruption is trying to fight back. So these are things that, look, we are all Nigerians. We know what's happening in this country. Every time this government tries to bring one thing in to solve the problem, another one will come up. So, of course, we are trying our best. And I assure you, people will see. In fact, it is because of the intention of this government that in 2019, Nigerian people still gave us a chance to continue to lead the country. And thank God we're doing very well.
All right, we'll take another breather. And up next, the argument about 2023 presidency and rotational arrangement has become a major national debate. We get the views of my guests on the program tonight. Join us again, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Mr. Muiz Banre, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, has been talking to us, as well as Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, a former minority leader in the House of Representatives and a chieftain of the APC. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for staying with us on the program. Before I go back to Mr. Banre, let me get your view, Honorable Adamu Aliyu, on this issue that Professor Zulu has raised. He said power should go to the South. Do you agree?
You see, you know, everybody is entitled to his opinion. I, Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, am a member of the Strategy Committee of APC. And it will be unfair if I start saying my own personal opinion. But as leaders of the party, everybody is entitled to say his own. And at the end of the day, the party will sit down and decide which is the best for the party to do. Whether the, power shift to south-south, southwest, southeast, northwest, north-central, this will be discussed later. To me, it is not time yet. We are trying to get more people into the party. We are trying to reconcile differences, because there are differences among, party stalwarts across the states in the country. So that's what we're trying to do. And for me, as I said, I don't have any opinion as of now. The leadership of the party, in consultation with other stakeholders, will sit and decide. And I'm sure whatever we decide, we'll rally around it and ensure APC, goes for the victory.
Don't you think that the issue of the understanding the power sharing model is one of the major problems in your party, in fact, on the political scene generally, where people are agitated about being left out or being not included in the scheme of things. This has caused some kind of infighting that we're seeing. In fact, on a general note in the country, some of the issues that Mr. Banre had raised, some people feel left out. If you're coming out early enough, don't you think that will even help your reconciliation process?
Well, that's your own opinion. In our own opinion, reconciliation starts first. And I'm surprised my brother Badire is speaking the way he is. He's one of the leaders, of the party. And I don't know whether he's still in the party. Because if he's in the party, there are certain things. He was our legal advisor. He was chairman of a board in this country. And I'm shocked to hear some of his comments as if he's in opposition. And I don't think, it would be good for leaders like him to speak the way he's speaking, honestly, because Banire is a very, very senior member of APC. And I have not heard that Banire has left the party. So, look, reconciliation, it's people like Banire and I sitting around the table, discuss about restructuring, if we need to restructure, what is restructuring, what does it mean to different parts of the country, how do we go about it, how do we talk to members of National Assembly, how do we convince, because look, we still have a constitution in this country. There is a procedure. There are things that need to be done. No amount of brouhaha. And a senior lawyer like my brother, saying that people calling for secession is not a crime. Yes, it's not a crime. But then what if you start asking people from other parts of the country, leave your part of the country? And we are called Nigeria. What happens if you say kill? How do you reconcile those kind of things? And when you start talking of secession, of course, there will be price to that. Of course, there will be antagonistic tendencies. And that's exactly what we see. So many people of northern extraction were killed in the southeast. They were killed in the southwest. And nothing has happened in the northern part of the country. Because why? Because, look, we feel that we will not allow agents of destabilization, people who feel that we have to go to war. Look, even if this country needs to divide into 10, 20 pieces, let's do it around the table. I went to school in a country called Yugoslavia. Today, that country is divided into about 8 countries. They fought war, dirty war, which these kind of things should show us that, look, it is not good to overheat the polity. It is not good for you to speak in bad light to, another tribe or another religion. We are all what we are by birth. And then God has made us to be in Nigeria today. Even if tomorrow we are going to be different countries, let us please do it in a civilized manner. I don't agree with my brother saying calling for secession is not criminal. Maybe legally, maybe, but then leaders need to speak in certain ways. Leaders need to speak in a way that it will bring, because me and Banire are elites. Me and Banire have no problem. We laugh, we pray, we do things together. But down the ladder, if the elites don't put ourselves together, then the country will be in trouble. So I call on my brother Banire and people like him that feel secession is not criminal. Yes, it might not be as I said, but then we should please tread carefully in this.
All right, Honorable, it does look like maybe you were not in the same WhatsApp group when Mr. Banire left. The last time I interviewed him, he told me that he has since left the APC. In fact, from what I understand, he's a member he's a member of the NCF, one of the groups that have come up to say there needs to be an alternative voice in the country against what we're seeing today.
I honestly apologize to my brother Banire. I didn't know he has left. I wish you luck wherever you're going. And we'll still come to, I personally, as your friend, will come and bring you back to APC.
Let me allow Mr. Banire to respond to what Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu has said, especially his view on the issue of secession, and also maybe you can respond on the issue of the rotation. Where should power go in 2023?
Well, let me start first and foremost by thanking my brother Honorable Aliyu. Honorable Aliyu, I've since thrown into towel and returned to my traditional cocoon, which is the civil society. And that's where I am now for now. But beyond that, I believe that for equity's sake, I agree with Professor Babagana that power certainly must come to the South. That is my position. And the party itself, I believe, you look, although I must say that the Constitution of Nigeria as well as the Constitution of the party does not make any provision for such. But the understanding, or gentleman that people always put it, is that, look, this thing should rotate so as to give some measure of sense of belonging among the different components of the country. And I think it's just fair enough that this should be done. That, I feel strongly, should be the position.
On what basis are you proposing this?
Well, it's fairness. It's just fairness that we all want to be one. That's the reality. Everybody wants to be one. We want to be patriotic. And to be patriotic means that we have different components. We have diversity in the nation. All of them must partake in the art of governance. If you know me by nature, personally, I do not ordinarily support anything in form of reversive discrimination by way of quota system, federal character, and all those stuff. But the reality of the matter is that in the midst of zoning, you see we find competent hands within each region or each zone of the country. And it's only fair that and equitable that this power shift must take place if you still want people to have that sense of belonging and to tame, like I said, this agitation for secession and all the ancillary incidents around it. Because for me, if, for example, we saw what happened during Obasanjo's period, maybe you forgot that when OPC came up about this kind of secession agenda, you know what Obasanjo did to crush them? Of course, that shows you to a certain extent that truly people want to be together. They want to live together. Of course, there is strength in unity. But the reality is that this must certainly be around the issue of equity, fairness, and justice. Always. Right. And the only way to navigate is to dialogue. And this dialogue is what people are calling restructuring all over the country, that there is a need for us to sit down and renegotiate some of the issues that are agitating the people in different sections of the country. It doesn't mean that it's only South that is agitated. I'm sure some part of North are agitated, the Middle Belt are agitated, even some core North are agitated. So it's all over the whole place. The best way to continuously ensure peace in the society, therefore, is to make sure that there is this aggregation of opinion of everybody.
Mr. Banner, we need to go. We're out of time. But I'd like to ask you anyways, because I know your friend and your political leader at the time, Bola Ahmed Tinubu's name has been thrown up several times about 2023 presidency. What's your view? You think he should run? You think he's a good candidate? What are your views? Quick one.
Well, in the first instance, he has not told anybody that he's running. But for me, if he's running, why not?
All right. I think we will leave it there. Honorable Adamu Aliyu, 10 seconds, your final thoughts.
Why not?
All right. I think we will leave it there. Honorable Adamu Aliyu, 10 seconds, your final thoughts. Why not?
Well, honestly, there are some things that I agree with my brother. This country belongs to all of us. And any party that wants to win should look at equity, fairness. There's nothing wrong with that. And I don't think any APC or PDP will do anything that will jeopardize its chances. So when we get to the bridge, we cross it.
Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, former minority leader in the House of Representatives, APC Chieftain, thank you so much for talking to us. And as well as Mr. Muiz Banure, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Well, thanks everyone for watching. I'm Sean Kimbale. Enjoy the rest of your evening.